Welcome everyone. Welcome to this number 36 edition of our business and technology conversation. My name is Joel and I'm your host tonight. And welcome to this channel. And tonight we're going to talk about you versus ChatGPT. ChatGPT is this new AI tool that has been launched in the market since November 2022, if I'm not mistaken, and it has drawn a lot of attention. It has garnered a lot of attention, mostly because of the the perceived threat that some people have come uh, to imagine or to think, not just imagine, because some of the threats are real. And we're going to see how can it really, how does it apply to you? Are we really in competition with Chat GPT? Are we really fighting? Are we really trying to are we so afraid to lose ground to the AI that all these flags are being raised and people are talking about it on chat, on forums, on clubs and groups almost everywhere. We were talking about it even with some of my coworkers, and we're looking at it in terms of, is this really a threat to our jobs? So that was the first thing that came to our mind when we were talking about this chat GPT. Why? Because of how great, how good it is when it comes to certain things, achieving certain things, and answering some other questions. One of the particularity of ChatGPT is the fact that you can have a conversation, exchange with that AI. You can ask a question and it can reply. You can ask it how to do something and then it can tell you. And you can ask another question still to follow up on the same topic, and then it can give you a lot of answers. So I had I prepared a slide, some presentation, just to guide us, to help us go with the flow and understand what we'll be talking about. Okay, let me prepare it. All right. Okay, I'm almost have it. Okay, you should see it right now. I prefer this presentation. Okay, there we go. So I was saying you versus Chat GPT, and going through my research, and I was doing some research, trying to think about some of the origin. Where did it start? Was that are we just learning about it today in 2023? Are we just learning about it in the last 5, 10 years? It appears that Alan Turing was one of the scientists who predicted that machine will have an impact on humanity, on mankind, on how we behave, on how we do things. And a lot of that has been said. And back then, when he was thinking about it, when he was talking about it, most people did not believe him. Most people were looking at him as funny and like, what are you talking about? How could machine impact our lives? How could machine do um, impact humanity, impact the way we work? Maybe he wasn't thinking about the full extent of what we're seeing today, but he had something in mind. He saw that as a computer scientist, he saw that something could be done with this technology. And as a business people, we like to know how this technology can affect us, how a technology can help us improve. Sometimes our main concern is usually how can this technology help us achieve what we're trying to do. And looking at all that, let me just go into my comment. I see that I have some chat. Hello, Mountain of Inspiration. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for liking the video. Hello, Dalia MTV. Thank you, my dear. Thank you for being here. So, like I was saying, it's going as far as 1940, that scientists have been talking about it, have been thinking about it, have been predicting those kind of things, predicting that we'll see some of these things happening to us. And until then, until 2014, this gentleman named Nick Bostrom was a professor at Oxford University. He wrote a book, Superintelligence, Paths, Dangers, and Strategies, warning us, warning the population, warning everyone that something is to be concerned with AI. Something need to be watched. We need to look at how it's moving. We need to think about it. And one of the things that he said that I really like is like, it's like putting a bomb in the hands of a child and not knowing when it can explode. Yes, it may sound dangerous, but like I always say about technology, remember, for those who have been following us here on this channel for a while, I always say a knife is a dangerous tool. A knife can kill, but a knife is so useful when it comes to helping you in the kitchen, cutting meat, cutting, vegetables. You need a knife, especially when it comes to meat. You need a knife that is sharp and can cut it so well, so easily. But the same knife in the wrong hands can become a dangerous tool. So it's true, yes, we need to be concerned, we need to be aware, but at what extent? Do you think that it is really going to take over your job? Do you think that is really going to destroy your livelihood? Do you think that it will bring it down? At this point, I may just already tell you, you are half right and half wrong. Because when it comes to technology and businesses, the first thing when I was preparing for this, because I was thinking of, I've been thinking about this topic for the last, what, 3 weeks. And when I was researching and talking about it with coworkers and with other people, one thing that came to my mind, I realized that even the automobile industry, it was not fully accepted when it came out. When the idea of automobile coming out, and that people did not think that would be helpful, because people are so used, as a mankind, we're so used to certain ways of doing things. And when we see something new, something that we're not used to, one of the first reaction we have, it's usually reject it, refuse it, say, no, we don't want it. Look at all the dangers. Yes, it's right. It's good that we have some people in the society today warning us, letting us know not to oversee or overlook some of those dangerous traits that device or tool can have. We need to understand that. But you'll be like, yes, Joel, you're talking about it, but the threat of AI are real. Yes, and I can tell you, you're not wrong, because I, during to my research and the readings, I came across some information, and those are the threads that kind of are the same from different writers, different researchers. Those are kind of the threads that we need to be aware of. We need to think about. Yes, it's true. It's true that what's happening in China, our Chinese government are tracking people, tracking people's movement. Yes, it's true. They can do surveillance at a highest level. It's true that in the US, they using AI to predict crime in certain areas. It's true. By doing that, they are taking over some of your privacy as a citizen. It's true that if used incorrectly, it can provide the wrong data about some race, some minorities. It's true. It's true that it can divide, it can widen further the divide between the have and the have not. It is true. Yes. Why? Because we're seeing that most people who are affected, it's usually the people, the hardworking people, where automation comes in, where automation becomes a big part of the jobs. And organizations have no choice but to lay off some of the people or reduce their salaries. It's true that it's taking, yeah, it's taking its toll. It's having an impact on the livelihood of certain people. It is true. I am not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that some of the autonomous weapons that being created now and monitored and managed by AI can become a problem. It is true. I'm not denying it. It's true that in the wrong hands, or you know with the wrong input in the AI, that can trigger a war. It is true. Launching a missile or launching an attack on places or people that should have not. It is true. It can happen. It is true that the financial crisis, which can be led by how AI predict how a certain stock can behave. Yes, it can affect, it can create financial crisis. Some people have lost their money with the night capital uh, flash crash. Yes, it happened. It is true that those threats are real. Those threats are real in terms of how even the Pope went in and say it is the Pope, I believe, the current Catholic Pope, it was saying it is dangerous. We need to think, we need to be careful and how this tool is used, because some of them can send tendentious opinion and can send the wrong messages. And in of course, in certain mind, certain information can lead to bad behavior, bad reaction. So we need to be careful about it, because yes, there is no, I mean, it seems like there's no moral, there's no ethics, there's no goodwill. We need to be careful about it. We need to think about how society can be manipulated with the fake news, with the deep fake. Yes, it's happening. It's happening, especially in the political realms, where your opponent, they can do that. They can use that, create a deep fake video of you or of your family member, just to tarnish your reputation. So those things are real. Those threats are real. And looking at it in terms of discrimination against minority, the AI with the wrong input information, because remember, AI, it's really the result of a learning machine that was fed with information, that was fed with um, data. But with the wrong data, if the wrong data was fed into the machine that's powering the AI that you're using, guess what? Your decisions, some of the some of the things that you'll be doing will have a bias towards certain people. It could be certain gender, it could be certain um, race, it could be certain groups of people. So you need to be mindful of that. Why? Because it is affecting humanity. Like this professor said back in 1940, something will affect it, will affect mankind, will affect humanity. How we react, how we behave. It is true. So let me check my comment. I see Martin was saying absolutely true. We don't like what is unfamiliar. Yes, it's reasonable. You know, mankind is men of nature. You know, Mankind it goes by nature. And this is probably a segue, and that will lead us to what I was thinking, and that's where we'll probably spend some most of the time. Mankind is the center of humanity. Why? Because we play a big role in this humanity. We are making it better or we are making it worse based on what we're doing. We are the ones making it happen. And because of that, we tend to, of course, do things in a certain way as soon as we develop an habit of doing it. Well, you'll see, and there is always there is a story that goes like this. In a family, there was some people used to cut meat in a certain way. And then when asked, why do you cut meat all the ways the same way? Someone say, I could not remember because my grandmother used to do that way and I kept doing it. And then lucky enough, the grandmother was around. They asked grandma, why were you cutting meat this way? I'll say, yes, I used to cut a poultry. It was actually the poultry, the turkey, this way because we did not have big pots. So I had to cut the turkey in small pieces so that I can fit in the pot that we used to have. And this is also where I can say, I can say that with assurance, with boldness, and say AI was fed with observation of our daily interaction with one another. So it's basically knowing it spend time studying what you and I do on a regular basis, especially when we are connected to the world, to the internet. It studied us. It knew so that Mountain of Inspiration likes to watch this kind of programs on YouTube, like to watch this kind of program on his smart TV whenever it's connected. So they kind of track it. We fed it to the point that yes, AI kind of know, it can predict based on who we are, based on some other fact they gather, that the machine learning gathered from us, what we can do, how we can think. But is that a way to stay there? Uh, Maybe not, because our choices and dictate our behavior. Why? Simple. Someone who likes to drink will make sure that they keep money to drink. They have some money so that they can go and drink and or party. Somebody who likes to buy um, technology equipment, they'll make sure that they have the budget. They will budget. They work if they have to work extra hours or do a second job to buy or pay themselves whatever they need, they will do that. So our choices will dictate how we behave sometimes. And machine learning has come to the point where they know that Joel likes to do these kind of things. Joel likes to watch these kind of programs. So they will always show me another YouTube creator whenever I open my TV. Why? Because the YouTube algorithms, they have studied me. They know that I love this kind of topics, and they present it to me. If I like it, they'll present even more. So this comes to what I was trying to say. I'm trying to the point that I'm trying to leave you with, to share with you, and make sure that we are on the same page. We are looking at things in with a different perspective. Yes, the threats are real. Yes, you can lose your job. That is all real. But as a matter of fact, one thing that AI doesn't have at this present time is the accuracy to know all about mankind. Why? We give it a try. For those who write essay papers, Give it a try. Go on one of those tools on chat GPT and do ask certain questions. You'll see that the knowledge is limited. It's really based on what it was fed with. It's really based like that. I asked a question. I remember it was, what is the life expectancy in DR Congo? And basically gave me the same answer that I could have found it on Google. But then he added a little tweak on that and say, oh, based on other factors, this could be different. But in reality, it was there. So to say what? It's to say that as a human being, as a business person, you you have the power. You have the power to become unpredictable. So AI rely on your predictability, knowing that at this time of the day, Joel usually turns on his TV to watch this kind of things. As soon as you start changing your pattern, then they will learn, but they will never know when. They will never know when you're about to do things. And that's where it's probably the message that I have for some of my friends who were concerned about losing their jobs. He's an artist. It's like, oh yeah, but now people would not make a difference between a real painting and one created by AI. I said maybe not, but the main difference, and I forgot to tell him that the main difference in all of this is the human touch that you can bring to your customers, to your people. Yes, we've been formatted, we've been led to think in a certain way, especially in the last 3 years with the pandemic. We've been formatted to think in a certain way. We've been afraid. We've been made afraid to be with people. We avoided physical contact with people, which led us to a different way of consuming services. And with that came certain easiness that we get using certain tools. So as we've been formatted to do certain things, and this is my message, and I hope that I make myself clear, we can undo certain things. We can change certain things. Yes, it will not be the same anymore for a young girl or young man working in a McDonald's or a Burger King flipping burgers. It will not be the same if that job become automated. But understanding that instead of you flipping that, it will be the machine doing it. You can still find a way. You can still, and you need to find a way to stay relevant in spite of all of that. Because remember, yes, some of the jobs are threatened. I can tell you, in the medicine, the doctors are already feeling it because AI can provide a good diagnostic in quicker than a doctor today. Lawyers are also afraid of that. They're thinking about how AI can read through all the other laws and come up with a strategy, come up with a good contract and all that. Lawyers are afraid of that. It's true. It can happen. And even accountants, because a computer can do better, accounting. It's faster, can do it faster. Man can be tired, but a computer can do it faster. But what will make a difference is when you and I, we start thinking, we like to consume services. That, I'm telling you, it's really up to you and I. If you are concerned about AI taking over some jobs, you need also to start thinking about changing the way you consume certain things. You consume services. Because, yes, remember, 20, 20, when was that? 25 years ago, in the greater Toronto area, banks used not, the, banks were not open on the weekends. Banks were open Monday to Friday. There was only one bank, I think it was National Bank back then, that used to be open late on Fridays. They used to close like at 8. And I remember because I was living in Scarborough, in Toronto, and there was one on Danforth and Victoria Park, right there, across the metro. There was one there, and it used to be open that late because I'll come from work and sometimes go out for drink, and then I'll riding the bus, I'll see the bank was still open. But it took a couple of years because people asked for that service. And then I believe 20 years ago, some banks started opening on Saturdays. And later on, some even were closing late on certain days of the week. Why? To accommodate us, their customers. The same way, you as a consumer, you'll be asking for services, companies will be forced to maintain people if you don't want to deal with AI. Will they be able to do that for all the jobs? Maybe not. Why? Because cost of living, cost of hiring a human being as an employee may become too much, but you can still ask for certain type of services. And with that, it will force the business owners providing services to deliver the service in a way that you want it. Do you want to be do you want your food to be delivered by a human being or delivered by a robot? Those are the things that we need to start thinking about. Not to blame stores for giving us those cash cashierless um, payment stuff. You know, where you go and pay yourself, you scan the stuff and pay yourself. No, but in the long run, we may probably start thinking about using that. Because if all the stores see that people are using it more and more, what happened? They'll be like, why should we hire cashiers to help those people? So we are the reason. That's why I say mankind is the center of all of this. Mankind is driving some of these technologies advancement. But we need to take charge. We need to make sure that we let them know we need to let them know that we need service in a certain way. Yes, they'll tell you, and that's how big organization they're using us. They say, oh, it's more convenient, and we give you a discount, and we give you a discount if you do it online. Guess what? We usually fell for that because well, it's convenient, or I'm getting $50 off on my activation fees. I'm, I don't have to pay activation. Why? Because I'm doing it online. But in the long run, what we're doing, we basically telling them, oh, tomorrow if I'm being served by a computer, it's fine, as long as I get my service. By doing that, you are killing somebody's job. It's not a big corporation, it's you and I as a consumers. That's why I call this episode of Business and Technology You versus Chat GPT, representing all the AIs. It's really about you, how you consume that, how you do things. It's really about you. Because the more ease of doing things we need, the more corporations will provide it to us. And don't blame them because you want service 24/7 Don't blame them if they find a way to do it at the least, the cheapest way possible. It's us, because we growing and yes, we being pushed, we being guided towards that ease of doing things and taking advantage of stuff. But let's understand that by doing that, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Because if all you have to do is just submit some information on a computer to get a contract generated for you, then guess what? You'll be getting rid of a one lawyer somewhere. It'll be one lawyer today. Tomorrow it'll be a whole lawyer office gone. Why? Because you decide to change the way you consume services. And not just to put a blame all on us as consumers, but as well as service providers. As service provider, yes, automation in certain areas will be fine, will be good. Yes, will be so as useful. And then we get all the marketing information. You need to do this. It's faster. It's quicker. Yes, but at one point, think about it. Do you want to do everything remotely, or do you sometimes have to understand that you need to drive for 45 minutes, for an hour, just to meet a customer? Yes, it's more convenient to just send a Zoom link. Let's connect on Zoom. It's more convenient and more easier. But by doing that, you're making your job less relevant more and more. Why? Because it'll get to a point where instead of me calling you as a electrician or a plumber, all I have to do, press a button, and guess what? AI, because AI has been monitoring my house for a certain period of time, they know that one of the pipe is about to break, or one of the faucet is about to break, and they send me someone right away. And guess what? Since it's all automated, they make it so easy that I don't even need to see someone, and I don't even need to do anything. Just they create something to make it easier. Yes, you love it. Easier. Yes, it's safer. Yes, we all want security, safety. Yes, but by doing that, you killing somebody's job. So you are the center of all of this, of the mankind. I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Nobody else but you. You are watching now, or you'll be watching later. You. You can make it, you can slow it down. Yes. Stop it? No, because in certain areas we will need it. It helps. It helps, like when you're trying to type a text and it's suggesting the word that you need to type. Look at it. How easy, how fast some people have become on the fingers just because they have um, suggestions coming and easily. Look at it. They're saving time. It's convenient, but we can still slow that. In certain areas, we need to say no, doctor. I understand it. You go to this clinic and say, I understand it, but I like to talk to a doctor. I like a doctor to touch me, to feel my pain, instead of just going to the scanner and after the scanner, putting my hand somewhere and it just, a small pinch, pick my blood, and that's it, gone. And then, within a couple minutes, give me the result, and you have this, your brain is fine, your lungs are fine, you have no problem, you just need to rest. Man, yes, you say it's easier. You say, oh, it's safe because I don't have um, to be in contact with somebody. I don't have to wear a mask because the place is sanitized and all that. But killing somebody's job, it's like karma. It's bad karma. It will come back, get you. Because you did that to somebody else will do that for your job as well. It is true that in some areas, for example, those people are writing essays like in a document for marketing, copyright document, things and like that, copywriters. It is true that AI can help. AI can help start a new page, start an idea. It can help. But if you and I are smart enough, we'll be able to, we can detect if this document was written by human or was written by a computer. Like, just like we're doing it today, recognizing deepfake on some videos. The same way. It's just a matter of educating ourselves, understanding how those things are and how it can be done, and how the real person would have done it. It's about, again, us learning. It's about us learning to read somebody's mind. It's important. It is a skill. It is something that can be acquired. We need to start. We need to not start because we used to do it, but we stop because of all the things that we have to make our life easier. But we need to start, go back and start again, learning people's behavior, learning how somebody can behave. We need to do that. We need to understand that today, Mountain can be upset. We need to understand that today, Dahlia can be upset or can be happy. And if they're happy, this is how they like to be talked to. This is how they like to be treated. So, and that is what makes it beautiful. That can keep us men again, humans again. Not just taking us as a computer takes us. You press this button, he has to respond that way. No way. Mankind, a human being, is not supposed to be like a computer. And that could happen if you continue leaving computers and machines dictate how things are done. We need to stop that and really say, no, 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 no. I cannot just press a button and expect Dahlia to react a certain way. I cannot just press a button because I feel that way. Mountain will react that way. No, we need to be mindful of how different we are. We need to be mindful that it's not because somebody was born in a certain country will always behave like that thug or that criminal that I know coming from the same country. We need to be human again. If we like to think like narrow-minded people, then we will be going straight into AI dictatorship, if I may use that word. We'll be going to AI-led opinions. We'll be going to AI-led advices, writings. So it is up to us. And that's why I'm really, and I see a comment here. Yeah, we need one another. Socialization. Exact. Because that's what makes us human. And a computer will never socialize with you. A computer will never ask. I mean, they can ask you if they learn that, but if you don't answer, how a computer will know? And sometimes silence in a human on one-on-one relationship, you can understand someone's silent. When someone just decide to keep silent, that silence, you can understand it. You can see, okay, I know, given the circumstances that I know about this person, it makes sense that she remains silent. But a computer may not know how to react. A computer, as a matter of fact, may start giving you many different options, many reasons why a person is silent at a certain given time. So I hope that this conversation tonight will bring back mankind, will bring you back to the center of your role in the society, in this humanity. I hope this conversation will bring you back to that, because if it doesn't, if you think, if you like to be more comfortable getting things done easily, then I can say you are prepared, you're ripe. You're ripe for AI. But don't complain. Don't complain if you start seeing all these threats, some of the threats that we mentioned happening to you. Don't complain about it. You don't want to talk to people on the street. You don't want to be nice, and you don't want to listen people's different opinions, and you stuck so stubborn on your ideas, on the way you're thinking, and you think what I think is the gospel, and if you don't believe it, you cancel. Man, you're right for AI. I'm telling you, man or woman, if you that's the way you think, you were right. Get ready for AI, because AI will feed you, will provide you with the information that makes you feel good. Oh, that's what I love. Okay, that's easy. Yes. One of the strength of mankind is falling but standing again. But if you like to, and falling means what? It means being uncomfortable, being in a situation that's not easy, but finding a way to come out. People will come, like I said in one of my short, but you need to pull yourself. You need to push yourself. Whenever somebody's trying to help you, push yourself as well. Because if you don't pull yourself, then I, I may not have the strength to pull you out of the trouble you're in. So to make it this short, I'll end up with this. You against ChatGPT or any other AI, you still stand a chance to be the winner. If you know how to play it, if you know what your roles, what the roles that you need to play in this society, in this mankind. All right. So until then, until next month, I will wish you a great month of February, which coming next week, and a great year. See you soon. Bye.